The first presentation is online. Frank's line, do we have you somewhere? Yeah, there you are. There. And topic is ClearStream Innovative Water Purity Project. So we continue with water things. Our group is sort of mixture of mobility, well, environment, everything is going under our environment, but let's not stick with titles, but the content. Please.
Thank you for inviting me to present this morning. So I'm from Dublin in Ireland, and I'm associated with the Smart Districts projects here in Dublin. And the project I'm pitching for is ClearStream Water Purity Project. So the whole context of this is that we have, I suppose, a number of streams that feed into Dublin Bay. And one of these, which is quite local to us, is the Brewery Stream. And it encompasses quite diverse environmental and ecological facets. And I suppose from a community perspective, we've had a number of initiatives to, I suppose, promote the unique diversity and clear up what is in essence a drainage system and convert it into a unique habitat for wildlife, birds, and other mammals, etc. The only issue is that it's not a protected type of stream, and there's a lot of issues to do with biological and chemical runoffs, particularly when after dry seasons the runoff into the stream has high levels of chemicals and biological issues, etc. So the thing really is that the focus of this really, while it has a water element of it, is heavily influenced by using smart technologies to, I suppose, to monitor, to preempt and predict when issues are happening so that corrective action can be taken both in the short term and in the medium term. So the Dublin Bay is a UNESCO biosphere element. So there's a requirement for the councils and the state to actually, by the year 2027, to improve the situation there. So the thing is, when we look at current solutions for urban stream quality management, they largely relate to conventional water quality management, either by hand or quite laterally with, I suppose, devices that monitor things like oxygen and pH/D and temperature, etc. And really for what we want to do here is quite inadequate for dealing with eutrophication and other things that are endemic, in sort of petroleum-based pollutants, etc. So basic remediation currently is around aeration and boosting oxygens, and also, I suppose, getting people to be aware of what they're doing. So smart solutions around this, really, that we're very interested in working with people with, is lab on a chip that tests for bacteria and chemical detection, etc., IoT centers and AI algorithms for, I suppose, looking at things like biodiversity and impacts that chemicals can have on the environment, use of underwater imaging and drones, and I suppose using large data sets and APIs to enhance data management, and actually when predicting when events are going to happen by relating these issues back to weather and weather forecasting, etc., and making the public generally aware then of I suppose how the issues are improving, hopefully. So really, piloting involves collaboration with local authorities. The technology will involve lab and chip and futuristic devices for monitoring, etc. We intend to deploy software in the cloud for visualization, work with regulatory and funding authorities around permits and funding. I suppose push out training and support, and the piloting steps then will be classically driven around planning, deployment, data collection, evaluation, community engagement, and scaling. And really, the capabilities that we're bringing to this are theoretical and research from the college I'm associated with, which is Trinity College in Dublin, working with the Dún Laoghaire wastewater department that we've done a number of projects with, the local water authority responsible for the water systems in the Dublin and Wicklow regions. We've worked with and have a strong engagement with environmental scientists and local community associations. So really what we're looking for is to work with other piloting systems, and I note there's quite a few in Estonia already. And researchers we need are environmental scientists, water resource engineers, chemists, microbiologists, data scientists, climate scientists, and remote sensing specialists. So thank you for your time, and I'm open to questions if anybody has any. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very, very covering and sort of ready-made thing. So I there's only 53 seconds for questions because that was answering many of them. So yeah, totally different from the others. So any comments? Researchers available?
Or cities?
Yeah. Total silence.
If you would narrow down your solution to a one sentence, what would it be about?
Improving biodiversity in the local community through smart technology. It really is around biodiversity, and I suppose what we aren't doing here is, I suppose, why there's water an element in it. It's not really strict to do with bathing water. It really is about the whole win here is around biodiversity and improving, converting what is really is an urban drainage system into something that is vibrant in terms of the biodiversity.
Will we take a question from the chat? We have a question from
yeah, we have minus 30 seconds time, but please do.
Maybe very quickly. So does the pilot propose both monitoring and remediation? If I pronounce that correctly.
Both actually, and what we propose here is that we would use this in conjunction with a number of other projects that will fund remediation in terms of infrastructure and the built environments. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with the system, the water system, that is beyond the scope of this. But what this project here we're talking about this morning really is about is insights, and in terms of looking at trends and preemption of issues before they become larger issues. Thank you. As we all know, schedule is more important than content, so we'll continue. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Anna will do the magic. Oh. No, okay, it's automatic. Juliana Reinsalu is supposed to be here, and the topic is Urban Sense Plus.
Supposed to share slides in Zoom, yes?
Yeah. Latest scientific knowledge available.
Fine. Full screen and then you're ready.
Yes. Nice. So I'm Uliana. So we are proposing this solution for the problem Urban Sense mobile node network. And the topic is Urban Sense Plus. Why Urban Sense Plus? I will explain on the next slide maybe. Because so we propose several network possibilities. So basically I have only one slide with a solution. And here we have, I have put several people in a team because we have already combined a small team. So there is people from Tartu University, there is people from Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, and there are people from Computer Science Systems group. So the Urban Sense Plus is a solution which combines like static and dynamic sensing network. So to provide like holistic view of dynamic environment of the city. And so what we propose both static sensor networking, dynamic networking, and also we have a data platform to collect the data, like a multimodal data where we can collect, store, analyze, and like show it. So basically, we have already a TrivoCell team experience with doing the platform, so we need to extend this platform to our needs. For the static sensing networking, what we are proposing, so the sensors are statically put in the city, and the logic there, so what is gonna do is analyze as the current state is suspicious, the current state of this sensorics is enough to cover the efficacy and like of the color of needs of the city or not, and to provide optimized solution to make this coverage better. And for it's also could provide such service as searching for empty parking slots or any other which is like based on the static sensorics. And for the dynamic sensing, so which why it's like Sense Plus. So this is mobile sensors, which is basically moving sensors. The logic here that we would like to put them in such like vehicles which anyway move around the city, such as waste trucks or buses or any other, so we don't need specific vehicles for our needs. And what we wanna do to create specific smart sensorics which can measure like while moving. And one of the services which we want to provide by these mobile networks, mobile sensorics, is to show either either traffic signs on the road are proper or they are damaged. Either the road itself, the surface is proper or it's damaged, either a graffiti somewhere. So such as things where while moving and statistically collect this data and analyze it by different AI algorithms, so we can create like more exact, accurate, proposed solution for damageness and not damageness, like correct of some certain place. So.
What 1 minute?
Okay, but basically it's like the whole solution is here on the slide. And so what we are looking for, so we actually didn't contact any city yet directly. So we want for sure looking for these piloting places. And for sure, I just checked that for this proposal, there was some other ideas very connected to what we have proposing, like connected to this platform, so which we have here. So we are open to connect all the stages together. So that's basically all.
Okay. There are some questions in chat. Are they the priorities, of course, people here? All right, then chat.
So Boris asks, what is the role of the hubs? What are they? Describe the strategy of static sensors deployment. How modular would the system be? A lot of questions.
Okay, so
Choose the most
what we mean by hubs, maybe it was in the description of the hubs. So there was one idea that while moving the sensors during the city, so which we can create also like depending how many data we will collect, so that we have some points in the city that will get this data from the mobile sensors and to put to the like bigger data storage. So this was the goal for the hubs. So the next question is.
Describe the strategy of static sensors deployment.
Unfortunately, me personally can't answer this. Maybe there's Wolfgang from Tartu. She was responsible for this. Maybe she can give a better overview of this question.
So Wolfgang, if you're online, then you can maybe write to the chat the answer.
Okay, we have some other questions coming up. Are we taking them?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have 1 minute.
As regards edge versus cloud computation, how would you protect privacy? This means GDPR. If computer vision data is uploaded to the cloud as opposed to analysis done on the edge.
So we were supposing to make analysis on the edge, like this was our goal. Okay, basically, we don't transfer all this visual data to the cloud. Just process like the decision making.
But of course, I mean, every people who are happy to spread out little sensors, it's always relevant to remember the maintenance and the longer term deals and the sort of after project lifetime and all that.
Yeah, okay, so
Anyway.
yeah.
All right, thank you. So you recognize the Helsinki trams there, slides over. Helsinki Tallinn collaboration is here happening deeply. Next one is well, we'll continue with sensors. Oleg Mantens is here, and topic is mobile smart city SensorBox. So this is sort of magic box that solves everything.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, so my name is Oleg Mantens. I am with Caltech, the same university, and with the Department of Electronics, which is actually one of the oldest departments in the after all reforms from 1962, and a long history of electronics. And also myself responsible for our research group on measurement electronics. So our claim is, and our decades of experience inside and outside of the university, also in my person, whatever is needed to be measured at high speed and high accuracy, we can do it clearly in the hardware, software, firmware, and so on. This is important. And yes, and actually we're repeating our idea of 2020, where we got very good feedback, but still we're a little bit below to be funded, and probably we need to a little bit change our idea. And so here is our research group for measurement electronics. Also previous time we were with senior researcher Alan Kuusik, who is here supporting, also very experienced in electronics. And this time we shall involve also Janos Kaugaran from software department. And so we are talking about most urban sensing mobile node network proposed by Ireland and many other countries and cities. And secondarily, we will also damage missing traffic sign detection, which can be used. And actually the idea is very simple, as it has been starting point. Public buses and so on are running, taxis and whatever around, and while they are driving, they can at the same time make observations, whatever are the road situation, pavement, holes, snow or ice or not, what is make the noise maps, measure the air pollution, and so on and so on, so they can observe, make observations and save it and send it necessary. Okay, this was this comment. Then no. Okay, so the two words that my question is, and I hope that Tallinn has been for centuries, very many centuries, very nice, but also very smart city, who to continue to be very smart and very beautiful also, don't forget to be smart. Okay, next. Talk. Actually, here I am simply citing the idea proposed from the cities, which is very similar to what we have proposed in 2020. Air quality, road damage, parking, also important traffic and so on to make observation. And car parking seems to be also important to be as mentioned. Okay, and in the background, this is machine traffic sign detection. If we have a smart box, for example, connected to the roof of the bus or underneath of the garbage car, then also, of course, see as well as by camera what are the traffic signs, and also, by the way, see what are the signs drawn on the pavement. Okay, we can take the next actually. And what could be the possible platforms? Of course, there is not limited list, but yes, public transport, garbage cars, there are special cars making maps of the cities and making measurements of the homes. There is this Clevon self-driving courier car, which is not only can also making courier services for Bolt Drive, Bolt Taxi, Bolt Scooter, Bolt Bicycle, whatever can be equipped with some smart box. Yes. Okay, next name. Yes, so this is from 2020. What we were thinking, there were some examples what can be observed. Pavement of the road. For the guys now, International Roughness Index measurement. But in the 2020 Tallinn city said that it takes huge money, all this monitoring and repairing of it can be automized. Street noise, air quality, heat illumination. And about street noise, it's important not only to make measurements, but also to make everywhere the map layers, yes, dynamically to see. And so on. Maybe the next. Yes, this is also from 2020. There is research excellence, including, as we talked, this edge computing instead of uploading huge images, and so on and so on. And artificial intelligence. There is innovation and commercial potential. It can be quite cheap and cost-efficient solutions. Yes, electronics is developing fast, and so on. Okay, but the time is, and I think that I have finished. Yes, this is also one project made by Fixed, previous by Untitled and monitoring. And so on. Yes, okay, thank you very much. Okay.
ClearStream. Questions, notions? Business side, city interests.
We have, if you have that, then go.
Yeah,
I will do the last
Yeah,
one.
Okay, let's take the one from the chat. Okay.
I have not noticed.
Can AI, artificial intelligence, be used to exclude vehicle noise? Vehicle
Of course.
that has the
Everything.
box mounted in noise sensing.
Actually, if you know nowadays, that's why experts in signal processing, whatever, if you have all these acoustical headphones, they can suppress all the noise and be very sensitive and all the beam forming here from here, but not from here. Everything is possible to done by signal processing nowadays, so it's no any problem. But it's a challenge, of course, just to be done. This will be beyond state of art, this new box. Just in this sense, of course. It's a very good point, yes.
Anything else then?
Nothing in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all get.
Then, yeah, my kind of comment or recommendation to all those that
Yes.
were presented now is really, there is technologies to find out what's wrong in the street. So the quite crucial, together with the cities, is
Yes.
really to find out how to do some actions and really quickly like do something that you get this hole repaired or I don't know, sign cleaned or whatever it is. And there was kind of extreme example from one US city told to us that they also implemented a system that they can find out the cracks in the streets. The result for the city is very, very expensive, that because now the law cases by the citizens, they have to pay at least double, if not 5 times, because the city knew the street was broken and they didn't repair. So it appeared to be very, very expensive for the city. So really, if you implement this technology, work with the city, how they can take the real action and do only the things that they can take action. And unfortunately, forget about those things that they cannot act on. Just a recommendation.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we are easily handling several domains, I mean, different domains,
Exactly.
yeah, they have their own interests and sort of, you need to be able to discuss with everybody. And city, of course. All right, I think now,
Yes.
as you heard, so great name that we call him Lisa. It's easier to pronounce, but she will take
Okay.
the floor.
Okay, let's
moderate.
move now to the other topics, which is mobility, city planning, and people-centered cities. So we'll have three pitches on spot. Can I see who are the ones on spot? Victoria is here, I know, Jung, and Dago.
Dago is online.
He's online, okay.
Oh.
So we'll start with you, Jun, yes. So we'll listen about perceived walkability using machine learning. Floor is yours.
Great, hello everyone. So my topic will be perceived walkability using machine learning. But first of all, I would like to say, so I want to say, why do we do this and how do we do it and what we do? So the first question I would like to ask you is, when we walk in the city, when we move from A to B in the city, what is the most basic way for us to move? The answer is always is walking, right? Because this is based on our human nature. So we have spent 6 million years to learn to walk. But unfortunately, in less than 100 years, we sit like this, or we sit like now, just sit in the office. And so that's why we come to the walkability, because walkability can somehow prevent the sedentary life. And the second point is the walkability can save monies for the municipalities. If walking costs you $1, it actually for the society, they only pay $0.01. But if driving costs you $1, it will cost for the cities like 920 times more money. And walkability can also enhance the neighborhood community. And for people who live in the walkable cities, they have much more interaction with their neighbors compared to the people who live in non-walkable cities. This is why walkability is important. And I have checked these following cities, and they have some problems just quickly through the Google Street View. For example, in Neva, the sidewalk are discontinued and they are missing zebra lines. And this, this is in, it's going so fast, sorry. Yeah, so this is in Riga, and they have sidewalks and good facilities, but at the same time, the streets are too wide, so they lose sense of the street. Or on the right, they don't have trees. And sometimes even if you have trees, and if the block sizes are very large, it loses sense of the street, so it's quite boring and dull. And this is the worst case in Ülemiste city, and you have endless parking lots and giant shopping mall there, which for pedestrian from other directions is really difficult to access here. So when we want to encourage more people walking and increase the road safety, and we want more people use public transport and eventually reduce the traffic jam. So the first step we need to do actually is the walkability. So once when the walkability improves, all those problems can be eventually solved. And here comes to our concept. It's based on the perceived walkability. That basically means how we perceive the environment actually give us the decision if we want to take a walk, or if we want to go outside, or if we want to drive. So here's our solution. So basically we collect two different types of data. The environmental data, which includes, for example, point of interest data, noise level data, and the street view data. And then we collect the user feedback based on the street view image or other kind of visual data. So we ask this kind of simple question, just do you think from this location is safe or not? And then we put those data into machine learning algorithm. Then we figure out what is the correlations between the environment variables and the users. And then we use this classifier, then we can predict the citywide locations. And then from the location which get really bad score, then we make some simple implementation, which according to the user feedback, then we collect the user feedback again from those locations. And eventually we go this iterative process and to improve the model and also gradually improve the city environment. Yeah, so this is the last page. So I just want to say, so it took us a long time to learn how to walk. So I would hope we can work together, have a bright future. Thank you very much. And because I'm a researcher alone, so I'm also looking for the more city pilot project and also other researchers who is interested in the project. Thank you very much. Questions in the audience? Yes, Victoria.
Yes, can you maybe explain a bit more, because are you focusing on the road safety, or are you more focusing on analysis of urban fabric and to diagnosis?
The challenge based on the city, what they proposed. So the road safety is the first important goal. And then second would be the walkability. So ask people, do they feel they want to take a walk in those kind of locations? So basically, these are the two questions. Of course, when you have more questions, then you'll require more data. So this is why for the pilot project, we only focus maybe 2 questions.
Anything else?
This is promoting walking, indicating that it's doable. Please do it.
Like every urban planner knows the rule of thumb, how to design a good street, but still they're building shopping malls with these immense parking lots. So that trick is somewhere else.
Okay, anything else? We don't have anything in chat. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Online presentation by Iskandar. I'm not sure if this is correct. Correct me,
It's
right?
not correct, but a nice try. By Iskander, you mean, right?
Great, so the floor is yours. Will you share the
Yes,
presentation, right?
Yes, I will share a presentation. Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present you our solution idea. Solution idea is very much started from the company that I founded 3 years ago, Code in the Curbs. We're a startup in curbside management. We have this idea to really change the way that public space is being managed and organized. And the future vision that we have is that we believe that city space should be adaptive and could have multiple functions throughout the day or throughout the week. So, for example, in the morning, you could use the same space for logistics, in the afternoon for parking of vehicles, and in the weekends when it's out and sunny, you can also use the same space for recreation or terraces. So that's the world that we believe in, this multifunctional use of space, and we call that the adaptive city. And we translated this into a product because we believe that the biggest issue and biggest challenge in most cities is actually around logistics. Logistics will only increase in the upcoming years by approximately 40%. So we need to do something with that. We need to organize the way that logistics is being done. And what we do, we digitize unloading bays and we make them bookable for users. So for example, this gentleman can reserve a time slot to deliver goods in a safe and efficient way. We developed a product around this with a user-friendly booking platform. We have on the street, we have a sign, hardware components, and we also measure occupancy of the area with sensors. We like to integrate also with local city platforms or city control dashboards, so to say, because we like to work a bit towards the future. And I saw some interesting challenges from a lot of cities. And what I want to research with this project, with this proposal, is I want to research how in a certain area, for example, Tallinn city center, if we have multiple locations like this, how do we change the way that people use the space? And can we increase the quality of life in those areas? And how are people affected by the way we control this? And I like to envision it as a sort of a digital city wall, where you grant access to certain logistical vehicles under certain conditions. So are they electric, yes or no? What is the size? What is the weight? And we can also send them through socially desired routes to the certain location that they reserved. And at moments that we don't use it for logistics, we can also use it for other functions like here, a mini festival or something that people want. So I want to do a research around this, and I saw that it's quite connected to what Valga Ulemiste City in Tallinn, I hope to pronounce it well, and Neva and Vimsi proposed. I'm looking for researchers and for cities who want to bring this further into a proposal with me. So please contact me on iskander@codingthecurbs.com on the screen. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. Under 5 minutes, thank you. So any comments? Any ideas or questions? Anyone? Go ahead.
What I noticed very often, the problem with parking spaces, because in the city center, the parking spaces are used for some office cars. And then in the evening, there are residential cars. And do you offer a solution only for these parking spaces so that you kind of swap the parking places? Like by office people, in the evening by the residents.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That's one of the use cases. I think that what we do, we digitize a parking spot. And once you digitize something, you can dynamically adjust its function. So, for example, indeed, for offices parking, or maybe in the evening for resident parking, or in the weekend, something else. And I want to research a bit on where's the need and how do we, how do we change this kind of behavior and this notion of, okay, a monofunctional space instead of towards going to a dynamic type of space. And that's what I'm looking for, actually.
Say, Nari.
Yeah, the question is whether you have already thought yourself as well, what kind of characteristics should this city space have that you are looking for when you pilot?
Okay, this is it's another discussion that we could have, but I think that city space should not be designed by only urban planners or people at the city hall. City space should be designed by the people living in the city. Specifically, I want to decide how we organize the street that I live in here outdoor. And I find it strange that often we are not into control of how we organize our own street, even though we live there, even though we know better what's needed there. And with digitizing it, I want to maybe give a bit of the power back to the people, that they can digitally organize it themselves.
But the question is that if you are trying to pilot something with cities, what kind of city streets or characteristics in the streets you would look for?
Yeah, so it will be densely populated, where there's a lot of battle for space. So often in the city center, narrow streets could work, but also wide streets. There needs to be different functionalities in the same street.
Okay.
How do you prioritize how you give the priority to some functioning against another function? For example, somebody wants to create a party on this parking slot, and there is somebody who wants to bring some furniture. So how you prioritize who will get this spot today?
And that's where the city officials come in. I think that policy are like the borders of the blank canvas. They decide, okay, what's allowed at what moment, at what time. But then you can offer it as a function to people that want to use it for the function. That's how I believe it. But that's also something we need to investigate further, also with the cities, how they view this.
Okay, and the last question. So are you looking for researchers to collaborate with as well? So maybe you could mention what profile are you looking at, or?
Yes, I'm looking for researchers in the area of logistics or mobility, and I'm looking for researchers that are specialized in urban development. So how do we design our streets? So those are the three profiles that I'm looking for, with a practical mindset as well, right? So I'm not afraid of experimenting.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Move now to also online presentation. I see Dapo is over there. Yes, so please, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello everybody. And Sorry, I'm not able to stay with you there at on-site, but this is just because of the little flu which hit me last week, actually. Okay, our idea actually, and what I'm going to present is a smart tool for a safe way to school. Actually, I would say that this original problem was occurred by the city of Riga in Latvia, but this idea was also supported by the Häädemeeste municipality, like a city of Cēsis, Latvia, and the city of Tartu, and probably some other cities as well. So what we are actually talking about is purely about the children's safety. And if we're talking about the children's safety issues, this is a traffic safety issue, of course, if we're talking about, is that this challenge concerns very much the most valuable, resilient, and of course, the valuable social groups. This is pupils and scholars, which are doing their everyday movement to the schools, but very often they are hit with other traffic or they are challenging with different traffic risks. So the problem is actually that we need to understand and embrace all the factors, different characteristics, of course, challenges and any changes in the urban environment, which might cause additional risks to the pupils on their school way. So we are trying to a little bit to highlight our main research questions, and they are as following. First, we need to know actually how the pupils are going to the school today and how these kind of trends could occur, the different mobility modes in the future, because all the safety issues are very much connected to the mobility. What kind of mobility are you actually using? Are you a walker, or maybe you're trying to do some bicycling, or maybe your parents are taken to the school by car every day? And very often the present research shows that one of the issues what the parents have actually highlighted up because of they are getting their children to the school using by car is a safety issue, because they are trying to avoid safety risks for their own children, but they are causing some other risks to others. So this is the first part, of course. Secondly, we need to know what are the main factors causing children to get involved in traffic accidents. Why? Is it mainly environment? Is it more or less behavior or something else? And the first questions we need to get an answer during the project is how to measure these risks from the point of view of different road users and decision makers. And are these perceived threats similar or different? I'm going to a little bit explain this in more details in the during next few slides. Our idea basically is to develop a universal toolkit with the interest of very different target groups and different mobility environment, which would enable to determine different risks. For instance, risk threatening the movement of children, but also to assess the size of the risks, are the big risks, what we should do with these risks, and how to actually, we're trying to work with this risk in order to avoid them. And last is to aggregate, compare, and analyze the risks based on the collected data. So our idea is actually to work out a special universal toolkit, which has, let's say, 3 different dimensions. First, we are trying to target different target groups, because they have very much specific approach for the main risk assessment, like first is like municipality officials and experts which are responsible on road safety environment. Secondly, we are trying to actually to attend pupils, the school children themselves. And please believe me, because we already have some kind of experiences, how to involve children to work on these safety risks. It's a very targeting, but very, very interesting and promising approach, where children themselves can actually tell us what kind of risks they are looking for, but they sometimes are also trying to show their very new and very bright ideas, very much, let's say, out of the box or out of the standards. And this is quite, could be actually the part of the normal school working ability. And last, of course, is teachers and parents on some special groups. This is the third dimension. The second is, of course, we're trying to attempt different traffic environment, including like different countries, like maybe Latvia, maybe Finland, maybe Estonia, maybe some others. So the toolkit should be universal enough to cover these different environments. But not only the different countries, but also the different areas of the city, like city center, where the risks are pretty much different from the schools, which are located on suburbia, or especially which one are located on rural settlements. And of course, the free dimension, the third, is different modal characteristics, but not also looking on today's situation, but also trying to take a look on the future. If kind of the modal split is going to change in the next future, what kind of risks are going or we are going to face in the future because of these developments? Like if people are going to walk more or maybe cycle more, it could cost us absolutely different approach when dealing with these risks. So the main ideas is about walking, about cycling, and about car transportation. And actually, this is my very last slide here, is that, of course, our proposal is still very open, and we're trying to attend other research group or other municipalities, if ever possible, if anybody is interested in that. Thank you very much. Sorry about.
Okay, so we don't have anything in the chat as well. So the audience, any questions? Comments?
By the way, I have just the moderator here, but my academic background is in traffic sociology, and I've done 12 years ago in Finland, sort of they were called mobility plans.
Yeah.
That was copying the UK model. I think it was even obligatory from some primary schools to do this. Sort of how kids are brought to school and how they could walk more and all that, and how that goes in school administration, and sort of perhaps having not that deep sort of research background, but sort of mundane observations and opinions of people on that sort of model and consultant publications done already. But that might be good connection, having this sort of deeper academic approach with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm available about this research and this approach as well. And I will say that if we started to develop our proposal, it's not from the zero ground. We also already have some kind of ideas and already have some research, which could be the good basis for the start.
Good.
My own final maybe comment, or Victoria wanted to say something. No, okay. So I'm not sure about the risk assessment by children, in the sense that are children able to assess risks? Because it's difficult for children not to feel those risks. So when you were talking about these target groups, so maybe you can elaborate very briefly on this.
Yes, absolutely, of course. And this is just an idea. If we develop something like a toolkit, it could be very much developed just based on the different age groups, for instance, because different people can do different understanding. But the previous experiences, what we already have done in Estonia with different schools, it shows very well that people, actually the pupils, the children, are able to show the risk. Of course, if they put it into kind of a framework, it might be different for the officials, but it's very, very valuable. And if you can see these very interested children to attend how to make their school way or their surroundings to the school more safer, they could be very happy and very, very gratefully thank you about this approach.
Okay, thank you. So another round of applause. Victoria talking about urban underground digital twin.
Oh, it's so good. I think myself on the twin.
Just concentrate only on this one.
I will be quick. We have only a few slides. Is the time already going?
Yeah.
Yes, Kalle.
You have all the time. You can use it however you wish.
So I have to make the slideshow is here. So I'm going to talk about the challenge that the city of Riga and city of Tallinn both were interested in, and it's urban underground digital twin for efficient management of underground assets. We have been talking a lot about what is going on the surface, buildings, mobility, traffic, etc. But we didn't pay attention to the underground. And the underground is equally important, if not even more important, because city develops above and beyond the ground. It's just beyond the ground layer is invisible. But you have there all the utility networks, car parkings, basements, buildings actually are underground, partially, that's their base, and you have the tree roots, but all these, we don't see it and we pay less attention. How do we manage all these valuable assets which ensure that the city functions properly? And the second question is that cities currently have a lot of data about the underground, but most of this data is in very different formats, very often non-readable. Some of them are in PDF, 2D. So how do we make sense of all of this information? And how do we find out the information which is not there? And our solution, what do we offer? Let's put it here. What do we offer? We offer the system to collect the necessary data from digital and non-digital sources, and also data from underground object detection devices. So then data conversion, we convert data into machine readable formats, and with digitalized data, which is non-digitalized, and we integrate it to a common platform, which we call Urban Underground Digital Twins. And what kind of outputs do we get? We get outputs in the form of communication. We have 3D visualization, so the stakeholders can assess what is it there underground. And we also can run analysis to see if there are any conflicts between, let's say, the roots or the pipelines or the basements. And we believe that with this platform, we will manage the underground space more efficiently. And in the end, we will have the better quality of the surface, because apparently we will be able to reduce the space for different utility networks and for the basements, and make space for more greenery in the city. And we would like to go beyond the primarily visualization. We would like to go to analytic tool and also management tool. For example, if there are some underground works, the public is also get notified that there may be some disruptions or traffic jams. So there will be this communication aspect also included. So, and the last but not least, initial pilot areas or initial challenge proposal for the cities of Riga and Tallinn. But we are planning to use different data digitalization and scraping techniques. And when we scale up, then the setup time for all subsequent different cities, we would like to keep the setup time within 1 month, and maybe even reduced to 2 weeks. It's possible nowadays with contemporary techniques. We have already a dream team of software engineers, AR and VR experts, architects, planners, and landscape architects. Preet today is here as well. And what we're looking for, we are looking for utility experts and urban ecologists to join our team, because for some utility networks, the data is not available, so we need to estimate the corridors. So there will be quite a lot of research on that. And we would like to also incorporate routing system. One ecologist we have in mind, so let's see if she have interest to join our team. So that's in short it, and I am in time, in 5 minutes. Do you have any questions?
Actually, questions in the chat. So how do you plan to assess the reliability and accuracy of the information from various sources, data holders?
Yes, so that's the good question. First of all, if we're talking about city of Tallinn, I don't know what about Narva, but all the new buildings or all the new infrastructure utilities, they have not only a 2D plan, but also the vertical section. So we know in 3D where this asset's allocated. The big question is with the historic data, because we have only 2-dimensional plans and some of them are not that precise. So we plan to partner up with companies who do underground object detection and verify the accuracy of our predictions with these sensors. Another thing is that we thought that for some cases, absolute precision is not necessary. So the probability corridor is also okay. So, and because we prioritize quick setup to get already quick benefit for the city, that means that for some cases, probably we'll have those probability corridors which are precise enough to make actionable decisions.
Okay, so we have other two comments that you can read yourself, just saying that this is a fantastic idea, very interesting.
You know?
And
Join our team.
yeah, so the next question is, what about leftovers from antiquity? I think you partly mentioned it. Or is it possible to monitor or record that? Leftovers from
I think leftovers, it was referring to, yeah, networks which are not functioning, but are still there. Yeah, actually, this is a good point. We didn't think about that, but I imagine that in the cities, it's also probably the case, especially in historic areas. I think we should include it in our agenda.
Good. So there are some questions still, but Victoria, you can take them, I guess, online, right? Because we have to move to the next presentation. Okay, thank you. I'm very sorry, but we will have a networking session, okay? Because otherwise, we won't manage. So the final one online about smart communities. Do we have Najel? Najel, probably.
That's right.
Difficulty with pronunciation again. Sorry for that.
No problem. Thanks everyone for inviting me to the session. Can I share my screen? I've got a presentation.
Victoria, please remove your presentation, otherwise he cannot show his. Second? Yeah, now you can share.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, thanks again everyone for having me to the session. Our challenge that we're addressing is the city of Pula. They want to improve their communications between its administration and its citizens, and really putting people at the center of smart technologies. Some of the problems with current channels are that a lot of information that we receive are pull-based, either through websites, newspapers, or social media, where we actually physically have to visit the sites, navigate to the area of interest, and we still might miss those information that needs to be pushed out. Other push-based technologies like radio and TV and instant messaging have been there. They're very widely used, but the issues with those, again, are that the information is only available when it's passed on to us. We might not be tuned to the right station. There's still a randomness to us being able to receive that information. And with the availability of real-time technologies such as instant messaging and email, a lot of people are beginning to mute these channels because they are not structured in a way to receive verified, legitimate information from sources like the city or other community interest groups. So our solution that we are proposing is that there's a general move away from social media to just-in-time information. A lot of people are beginning to declutter their lives through uninstalling apps, detoxing from social media, ignoring instant messages, and also having to deal with fake news and other unreliable sources. So our proposal is to use smart technologies to create a database of persistent and contextualized information that can be smartly delivered to citizens when they need it, where they need it, to keep them safe. So part of our solution is to provide context and push-based information in the form of notice boards, notifications, and geolocation-based information. So really receiving the information just in time to make sure that citizens are empowered with the information. They're not required to memorize information received via other channels and receive it in time in order to keep themselves safe and also to reduce the inconvenience to other citizens. Part of our solution would be having verified sources on our platform with authoring tools that will allow them to create structured information that can be smartly pushed to citizens. This can be done through audience groups that are both dynamic and static. Dynamic audience groups would be, as citizens join the platform, that they are added to either their street, their suburb, their city, or country. We have community alerts that are automatic polls that can allow citizens, the minute that they report an incident, that it can poll other citizens in the area and they can feedback on the impact of that. And then other general public alerts. So whether they tourists or people from out of town, as they're traveling through your city, they can receive alerts that could be important for them. Could be public services, crime, or other closures that could be temporary in nature. The other aspect of our solution would be to be able to source information from citizens through community engagement. So again, using geolocation-based information, surveys that are either time or geosensitive, ability to report incidents that they might observe. So it could be illegal dumping, a road that might be closed, a pipe that could have burst, and then an SOS system that's available to everyone, because in an emergency, many people don't know who the right department is to contact. As a foreigner, you may not also know the local context. So this should all be available on one application. The content should be able to be verified so that false information can't be transmitted through our platform. And then to be able to smartly share that information with all stakeholders within the city. Because whilst you might be sourcing information for a specific community interest group, there could be the police or other stakeholders in the city, like the municipality, that might need that information. So we're proposing to have one source of truth that could be shared with many stakeholders. We are also then bringing together pioneering technologies from around the world, such as data visualization, big data, data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, and to be able to make this available to communities and cities, instead of them having to develop their own technologies each time. We can make this available as a platform as a service. These then are rendered into dashboards for various communities through what we call virtual private community dashboards that allows them to visualize their data and make decisions on that data. So ultimately, what we're proposing is to collaboration and to create impact by turning data into impact by taking it through its various stages. The proposed pilot cities that we are looking at the moment are Estonia, the city of Tallinn, and possibly Tallinn University as a micro city. Croatia, the city of Pula, who was the original challenger. And Smart Communities is built on a cloud platform that is globally scalable. So we could include any number of city pilots wherever they may come up across the world. The collaborations that we require, Smart Communities is co-creating its platform with communities and can on an ongoing basis. Some of the research partners we're looking at is the Teltech research department that is involved in artificial intelligence and machine learning. We are also looking for partners to engage with from citizen and city engagement research that will help us understand how real-time data from citizens can positively impact the livability of cities. We want to understand the behavioral changes required to adopt a new technology like ours, moving people away from traditional technologies like social media that is somewhat meeting their requirements, but is not truly creating the impact that they need. We are also looking to create machine learning models to predict probable events like crime and infrastructure failure, and also generative AI researchers to create curated contents for citizens based on city data that is traditionally on paper or on websites. Other projects that we're looking at, we noticed that there are other proposed solutions today. Thank you. That we will crowdsource data on their behalf. We can render and analyze the data and share the data with stakeholders, so they will have access to our platform to do that. And that's our presentation. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. We have one question in the chat, but we'll be this time looking at the audience first. Okay, so the question in the chat is, have you looked at similar apps like Map Alerter that provide public alerts relevant to their area?
Yes, so we have looked at other applications. There are a few that are handling specific aspects of what we do. So our solution is already built and we are piloting in countries in Africa and Asia. What we are looking at is a more holistic solution. So as opposed to citizens having to have 3 or 4 different applications, they could use one application for all their needs.